L'histoire d'une fille pas trop compliquée pour une fois.
Okay, so I went a little bit crazy with the planning for Paris and I had a very detailed day-by-day itinerary, which I will show you guys. But what I'm going to go through is essentially just kind of categorize everything and share it with you that way. First off, the Louvre. So we went to the Louvre on Monday. I would recommend going Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. The reason I wouldn't recommend going Monday is because I was overhearing people talking, and I guess what a lot of people do and what we did as well is they'll go to the Louvre on Monday and then Versailles on Tuesday because Versailles is closed on Monday. So I would not go on Monday, and I would also go to the Louvre as early as possible. We had 9 to 10 a.m. tickets. That was our window. And we didn't get in until around 10:15 because the line was so long. Even the line, if you had tickets, was very long. So if you're gonna go to the Louvre, I would recommend getting a tour. That's something that we did not do, and I wish that we did, just so that we could learn more about the art. And the Louvre itself, the building, also has a very interesting history. Second, Versailles. We had an amazing tour of Versailles. We used Get Your Guide tours for our tour of Versailles. It was an hour-and-a-half tour, and we didn't have like this special tour that took us through all the back rooms. So that might be cool to do. I think it's a little bit more expensive, but our tickets also included access to the Versailles Gardens. So after our tour, which was a fantastic tour, we had the opportunity to roam the gardens by ourselves. If you are planning on going to Versailles, I highly recommend getting a tour, and absolutely get your tickets beforehand because the line to get your tickets was insanely long. We were even standing in line and we had a tour. So those are my recommendations for Versailles. And then this is a museum that we actually did not go to, but it was on my list and I wanted to go so bad. I'm really bummed that we didn't get to go. But Musée de Lingerie. I've heard that museum is absolutely fantastic and I really wish that we had gone. I think they're showcasing Matisse right now. So if you go to Paris, I highly recommend that museum. We did not go, but I wish that we had gone. We visited the Eiffel Tower and we ate lunch at Madame Brasserie. Eating lunch there was cool. It's kind of like a one-time thing. Like I wouldn't go back and do it because it was so touristy, expensive. The food wasn't that great, but that was a very cool thing to do. The next one is any of the restaurants at the Four Seasons. So the breakfast I think was 70 euros per person. So the breakfast was very expensive, but it was very good. It's also kind of like, it's fun. You feel very fancy. My next favorite restaurant that we went to was actually an accident. Revy just happened to find it for us. It was Marzo 16N. It was pizza. It had fantastic pizza. It seemed like more of a local spot. It was kind of off the beaten path, but it was absolutely fantastic. I recommend going there if you have like a night off or you guys kind of a relaxed night. It was really lovely. The next restaurant that I really enjoyed was Akirabak. This was inside of our hotel. We stayed at the Prince de Gaulle. They have really great sushi and kind of like Asian food. Our sushi rolls were really good. We had really great appetizers, and then I recommend getting a reservation because I believe it's a Michelin star or it's close on like the Michelin list. The next one that we went to, this one was in Versailles. It was called Le Pincement, and that is the last name of the chef. His name is Xavier Pincement. It was a coursed lunch, so I believe the basic package was 65 euros per person. We got the tomahawk lunch, which was I think $175 per person, but it was probably the top 3 meals of our entire life. It was so tasty. Every single course was so well thought out, so delicious. We barely finished our last course. It was all so good. The chef came out and spoke to us. Our waiter was amazing. It was just a really great experience, and I highly recommend this restaurant in Versailles. My last recommendation for a restaurant, this is in Montmartre. It's La Boîte à Lettres. It was a very affordable restaurant. It had amazing, I think it had 4.9 stars and a couple hundred reviews, but it was super affordable. I think that if you got an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, it was 25 euros for all of this. The food was amazing. I recommend getting a reservation. We got there around 12:30 and it was very packed. And then things to do besides like going to Eiffel Tower and the Louvre and things like that. So our last night there, we were meant to go to a ballet and it got canceled because of the riots. The employees were protesting. So rather than going to ballet, we went to I believe it was the oldest jazz club in Paris. It was called Caveau de Hachette. It was just like a very like kind of underground jazz club. People were dancing, they were swing dancing. It was like literally like you were inside of a cave, like you go down into the basement, and it was probably one of my favorite nights. Like I wish we had found it earlier and gone more than once because it was so much fun. If you go, I highly recommend getting there earlier. I think it opened at 9. We got there around 8:40 and we were probably like the 6th or 7th person in line. As you're at around 9:30, seats were pretty filled up. So I do recommend getting there earlier to get a good seat. And then lastly, we honestly didn't do too much shopping. We were very much running around the whole city trying to see everything at once because we only had 5 days. One shop that I loved visiting was Officine Universelle Bulli. This was a fragrance shop. They have body oils, perfume, they have hair accessories, soaps, shaving creams, hand lotions, and it looks like you're in Harry Potter, like in a Harry Potter store. That was really the one shop that we went into. We didn't do too much shopping, but the 2 vintage stores that I did want to go to that were on my list are Le Coffre and Rose Market Vintage. I wish that we had time to do more vintage shopping, but sadly we did not. But if you're going to Paris and doing some vintage shopping, I do recommend those 2 because they're supposed to be really good. Those are all of my Paris recommendations. And if you have any more recommendations, comment them below because I want to make a trip back soon, especially for vintage shopping. I feel like they're really good vintage shopping. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video.